Here's how to add lighting effects in Photoshop. There are tons of ways, so I'll show you 3 different methods that you can use. So we have this nice picture of the guy here, and he's a little underexposed, but we're going to make that worse before we're going to make it better. In the bottom right, click the New Adjustment Layer button and select Exposure. Then, lower the exposure to darken the image. You want to have your foreground color set to black and your background color set to white for this. Now, find the Gradient tool on the left, or hit G as a hotkey. Select the first gradient option. Also, have your gradient mode set to radial. Now you can click and drag this shape onto your image, and you can see how the light shines through on the shape that you draw. You can adjust the position or the size of the shape, and we can also add some light spill with this method. Select the layer your subject is on, and then make a selection of the subject. Now go back to your adjustment layer, and choose the brush tool. Choose a soft brush with full opacity and about 50% flow. Then I'm going to paint around the outside of my subject, and a little bit of light will look as if it is coming from behind him. I'm also just going to paint a bunch of light on the spots that I think should be hit by a bunch of light. Moving on, method 2. Another way to add lights is with the curves adjustment layer, and you can see the background is rather dark. I'm going to select my subject, then go to the top bar. Click Selection, then Inverse, to inverse the selection and select everything besides my subject. Then I'll click the new adjustment layer icon and choose Curves. Now, this control menu pops up. I'm going to click on this graph here to make points, and increase the points to make the background brighter. I'm also going to click this drop-down menu to change what colors of light I'm adjusting. I want to brighten up the greens, so I'll do that. You might just have to play with this graph a little if you don't understand it, but basically I'm telling the mid-tone greens to be brighter than they currently are. Okay, that looks pretty good, but it's not the exact effect I want. This is the method I use most often for adding lights, and you'll see why. On the left, find the polygonal lasso tool. You might have to use the drop-down menu to find it. Now I'm going to draw a shape that looks like it's a cone of light coming from a light source. So once I have this shape, click the New Adjustment Layer button, select Curves, and then adjust the light to be the color that you want it. Once you get the light looking the right color, click the Filter button in the top, then Blur, then Gaussian Blur. Blur the light until it looks good. Now, obviously this is way too bright, so I'm going to lower the points on the graph. I think I also want the light to be a little pink, so I'll go ahead and change my graph mode to red and increase the red light by just a bit. Doing lights like this can really let you make some interesting colors, so if you want to have colored lights, you can make them by adjusting the curves. Now to match this side, I'm just going to duplicate the light and position it on the opposite side. And I kind of made a dark spot, so I'll use the same trick to select that spot and brighten it. Make a shape. Make a curves adjustment layer from that shape. Adjust the light. And blur it. And when blurring the light, unless you want it to be very harsh, I would blur it just enough where you can't see the line anymore. Okay, for method 3, I would want to make this light below my curve layer lights, but above my gradient lights. So make a new layer, select the brush tool, and choose a very big medium flow brush. And I would just click once where you want the light to be. Normally, I think this looks best when the light is mostly off the edge of the picture. And you can also do this with black to make shadows. And if you want, you can go ahead and blur this light. And there's a bunch more touching up we could do, but that looks pretty good. I hope this tutorial helped you. If you could do me a huge favor, it would mean the world to me if you liked, subscribed, and left a comment about what project you're working on. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks!